Ribosomes and phosphates, by the way, are also the stones of fire used as a covering by Lucifer, as she is between them and inside of us, and has covered, just like Yahweh, Rebecca, Mary, and others covered. This is why she is referred to as the covering cherub in those verses in Ezekiel 28. And Mary Magdalene covered Esu's feet with her har also. When the word carbon is broken down into the logograms of the Sumerian cuneiform, it is rendered as har-bun, H-A-R, plus the logogram B-U-N. The logogram bun means rebellion, and once again, har is simply a shrouded reference to the strand of genetic material that was stolen. When we put these two together as harabun, it is no surprise that the meaning is the genetics or DNA of the rebellion. This is because, once again, this is what was stolen during the rebellion. The planet Saturn is also represented by a six-sided hexagon on its north pole. Saturn is also referred to as Jin, G-I-N, in the Sumerian language, as well as D-J-I-N-N in Arabic. It is the same word for a stone called lapis lazuli, but is also bright blue in color. Pardon me. This is the reason that those who say they are Jews, see Revelation 2:9 and 3:9, say they are Jews, fly the six-sided star on their flag, and why the rabbis have one blue fringe called a teklet on the bottom of their robes, representing the phosphate and carbon nestled between the chromosomes of the strands of DNA. This is the true meaning of the words we read in Isaiah 14:13 and Nahum 3:16, which state respectively, "For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars," meaning the rib or five-sided ribos, "of God. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north, and thou hast multiplied thy merchants above the stars." Those who were complicit in this unlawful genetic merging are of the synagogue, meaning temple or body, of Satan, known as Saturn, Remphan Kayun in Amos and Acts, Molech, Baal, and other names, and literally worship Saturn, symbolized by the Great Pyramid, the monument under which they all have literally hidden before in the days of old, to escape the wrath of the coming fire and water. This is why Esu stated in Matthew 24:16, Mark 13:14, and Luke 21:21 that when the abomination of desolation is standing in the holy place, which it already is, by the way, and you can learn more about that at the inner circle, that we are to let those in Judea flee to the mountains. The word mountains is a direct reference to the holy mountains or pyramids at Giza, which sit on the west bank of the Nile River, which, interestingly, used to be the southern border of Israel. This is also spoken of in Zechariah 14:5. These events are leading up to the culmination known as repentance, which means the going back to or giving back of the five, the penta, which is a reference to the rib or the ribos that was stolen from Adam by Yahweh or Lucifer to mix the reptilian seed, the phosphorus and carbon, to create the DNA of humanity. Elohim knew we were not good in our current form, which is why they tried to destroy us twice, once by fire in a hidden story in Genesis 2:1-3, and later by a flood, beginning in Genesis 6. Remember, when something is terminated, it is literally brought to an end. When something is exterminated, however, the true termination, that which we wrongly call life, brought on us by the rebel who was seduced by her knowledge of genetics and who stole the seed for sinful purposes, is undone. That termination is undone when we are exterminated. To be exterminated, therefore, by the Father is a loving act that will bring us into our true state, or back to our first estate, and once again back to Him. This is how the theft of the woman is going to be reconciled, and how the hearts of the sons are going to be returned to the red Father. See Malachi 4:6. We've had ample opportunity to do this, but it's a difficult task, and the process is extremely arduous. See Matthew 16:24 and Mark 8:34. It is also a bit frightening when those verses outlining the instructions for the process of true repentance are translated correctly, which brings up the next point. The other thing that is going to be sheared is that behavior which was brought on or made possible by the phosphate or the pyran, which was the ability to procreate through sexual intercourse. As a hint, this is what Esau means, quite literally, when he says, "If any man would come after me," or meaning to go where I am going, "he must take up his cross and follow me." The word for cross here is the Greek word stauros, which is just another name for the obelisk, the tall, thin monuments which look like a pyramid at the top. The stauros, or the obelisk, represents the phallus, just like the pyramid does, which is why it too will be destroyed when all of this takes place. This is the purpose of the covenant of circumcision between Elohim, who once again attempted to destroy man at least twice before by fire and flood, and Abraham. It was not the foreskin that was to be cut off, but the actual pedunda vitae, which is in the Latin means, quite literally, the genitals. It actually refers to the sex organs of both males and females, and is why some African tribes still cut off the sex organs or clitoris of the woman, even today. Sex and the organs necessary for that act, for the purposes of procreation, was one result of the phosphate, Lucifer's seed, or the pyran, being fused to the rib or fruit that was stolen. Evidence of this comes from the Sumerian logograms Tur and Dis, T-U-R and D-I-S.